Hi, I'm John McGinley. How can I help you?
I want to start off by telling us a bit about like your involvement on the show.
I created it. I thought it up, and I read it. I'm a comedy writer and a comedian, but I grew up loving horror movies. They were always my football, I like to say. You know, that's what I was into as a kid, and I always wanted to do like a horror movie or horror show, but it was also, it had to be funny because that's what I do. It would be ridiculous if I tried to do it seriously. And it took a long time to get the right combination, and you know, a lot of things, it took me 20 years to come up with the simplest idea. And the idea basically was, what if my dad was Buffy the Vampire Slayer? What if my dad, who I've described in life as Archie Bunker without the elegance and sophistication, what if he was a monster fighter? And the show fell out of my head very quickly from there. It kind of took form really quickly.
As the seasons go on, do you find it harder to come up with things?
I actually find it easier.
Yeah.
I mean, we only do 8 episodes a season, so that's a big part of it. But, you know, I have a lifetime of immersion in these things. So people always go, oh, I got to do that, oh, I got to do that, oh, I got to do that. And because John and Janet are, you know, real serious actors who built these characters before they ever stepped in front of the camera, you know, they asked a lot of questions of me about the past lives of these characters that forced me to become a better writer, that forced me to really delve into the history of this and really sink the story support beams deep into the bedrock. And because of that, it allows you to go many other places. At the end of every season, I create a cliffhanger that really paints me into a corner for the next season. And
on purpose?
Yeah. I know where the show is going overall and the way it takes twists and turns. And I like creating problems for myself that I have to then solve. One of my favorite movies as a kid was Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and that ends with the world exploding. And there was a sequel the next year. So I always admired the fact that they blew up the earth and had another movie. And I create those problems for myself. This season 2 ended with the portal to hell opening and the forces of hell being leased upon the earth. And once I solve that, we go on and have other sorts of fun. But this season, having done that and solved that problem and then created a bigger problem that would carry us through the season, this season I have some real fan-centric episodes. We have an X-Files homage episode where the two vaguely familiar agents from the New Hampshire State Department of Paranormal Phenomena show up. We have a Godzilla salute with the Mothra fairies. So we have some really stuff for fans and then the overall story. The guest stars this year we have like David Koechner from Anchorman, Scott Adsit from 30 Rock, Maria Bamford, Matt Bronner, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Eddie Pepitone. We have a huge list.
Over 2 seasons, we've seen some pretty outrageous monsters. Who's been your favorite so far? And then can you tease any beyond what you just said?
Yeah, well, I guess for whatever, there's no real reason why everybody loves the pig demon from the first season. He sort of became like a symbol of the show. Like he's on a lot of the stickers and T-shirts. So I think people really love Murgatroyd, the pig demon from season 1. But this season, what happens to David Koechner in the he becomes a monster. He plays Kenny, Janet's ex-husband, and he becomes a monster called a Kenny Pillar. He might be the standout. I think he will end up being the standout this season.
What are your biggest inspirations, I guess, for the show and these characters to create the monsters?
the overall architecture of the show is the X-Files in the sense that we have mythology episodes and standalone Monster of the Week episodes. The Monster of the Week episodes came from Kolchak the Night Stalker. That's where the X-Files got him, and I continue that. It looks, the visual language of the show is very much influenced by Dark Shadows, which was an old soap opera in the late '60s, it very feels much like a '70s drive-in horror movie. Like it really, a lot of people, I said I wanted it to feel like an old show that is being rerun, that people found, and people came in with Stranger Things, and this is before Stranger Things had aired. People came in with mid '80s kind of thing, and I was like, no, I mean further back. I want it to look like Last House on the Left, or The Hills Have Eyes. I want it to look like you're at a drive-in in 1973, and that's sort of the visual language of the show. It feels like an old show.
Do you like doing 8 shows, or would you rather do more?
I like doing it. It's always nice to do more, but 8 shows also allows us to cram a lot in. And, the suspension of disbelief is just right. Yeah, I'd like to do 16. I think we could, but the way they show because television habits have changed, they show 2 a week. But most of the viewers come later. And what's called the +3, that people DVR it, TiVo. People DVR it and watch it later. And like this year we're premiering Halloween. I was like, no one's home on Halloween. Like, nobody watches it when there's anything to watch it.
What can fans expect from the new season? Or what can you say?
We solve our unsolvable problems only to create bigger problems, and this season absolutely has something for everybody. We have the X-Files, the Night Stalker, Godzilla, Mothra Twins. We have a new demon named Horus. That's the commander of Hell's Army. There's a lot this season.
Last question for you guys, Dana.
The story is kind of like an old school like horror, and you have all these like witty, sarcastic, funny parts to it. How do you balance that, and like what's a good balance?
The way to balance it is, and I'll preface it with like, it's the reason I can do it is because it's the only thing I know how to do. It's like they're going to meet a ventriloquist that's really good, but they can't do anything else. That's me. I can do this. They have to live in simultaneous universes in the sense that the horror movie doesn't know that you're being funny, and the people that are funny don't realize you're in a horror movie. The minute the monsters are funny or silly or winky or they're funny, all the air goes out of it. The horror movie, the scary stuff is scary, the funny stuff is funny. And the funny stuff is only funny because it's really people just behaving normally. They're not behaving in heightened horror movie reality, they're behaving like normal people. And that's really the trick, it's really not that hard. But the secret is the scary stuff has to be scary. Yeah. And then you say Ghostbusters shouldn't work, and I'll say, you're right, I don't know why it does. Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice are the exceptions that prove the rule, so there you go.